Adam Christ from MyMMAnews.com, being joined by Elvin Brito, who is taking on Brad Kelly at BKFC 16, going down March 19th in Biloxi, Mississippi. Elvin's going into the squared circle again. Elvin, how are you, my friend?
Good, man. I'm good. I'm happy. It's getting close. Like, the days are getting closer. You know, I'm always happy when we're this close to the training camp because I'm like so hurt from all the work that we do nonstop. So I'm like, all right, I'm ready to get this done. But I've really been enjoying this training camp, man, and I've been getting really, really good work in, really, really competitive work. You know, it's just going out there and just scratching the line. You know, just trying to inch out a little bit extra every time, and it's been good, man. Like today, I did some speed lifts today at the track. I ran 12 laps really fast. I'm like, dang, I already ran that fast. I'm like, I just feel good, you know. I feel like I'm getting in my zone, and then once I get in my zone, it's hard to stop me. You know, I frustrate you, and I'm just gonna give you a really hard time. It's gonna be a really, really, really tough night when you let me get in my zone. You know, so I'm just really, I feel like I'm starting to come to my own with my bare knuckle style. Like I'm putting it all together. You know, I think the Palomino fight was a big turning point, and the adjustments that I had to make for bare knuckle. And I just want to keep tweaking my style. I want to, you know, keep. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't shown yet. You know, I'm not trying to showboat. I'm not trying to be a greedy bare knuckle fighter and get caught being stupid. I want to be a technician. I want to win smooth, clean fights. Bare knuckle, you're gonna get the knockout's gonna come. You don't have to, you know, destroy your whole body just trying to get it. You know, because a lot of guys. Everybody has their own idea of how bare knuckle is, so they get in there and they realize this is a raw sport. And I always tell people, how do you feel after fight someone? The best way to describe it is feel raw, you know, for a while. You know, but I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while, and you know, after my last fight, I was ready to go. I'm like, all right, let's go again, and it feel like I got put on a back burner, and I'm like, hey, man, you gonna do something with me? You know, with me and with anybody, you know. But they finally got somebody for me. Brad Kelly's gonna fight with me. He's a tough opponent, real respectable guy. He's like a fighter's fighter. He's like me in a lot of ways. He's a fighter's fighter. You know, he always comes to fight. He's tough as nails. You know, he's a country boy like me. It's just a different country and shit. You know, family guy, and he always brings it. You know, he's fought some really good guys too. You know, I've fought a lot of really tough guys in my career. I have a really long career. I've fought some of the best guys around. Consistently fought the best guys, and I've seen it all. You know, and I've seen the worst of me and the best. I've been in the worst situations and the best situations. So, you know, I'm ready. You know, I feel like the biggest difference between me and Brad is that my style is better than his. And that's going to be the biggest difference in this fight. You know.
Yeah, and so you're coming off the win against Kaleb Harris. Obviously, great win. Your second win in the BKFC squared circle. He's coming off his knockout over Kaine Thomlinson, his first in the BKFC squared circle. Obviously, you're the more experienced fighter, and you've talked about coming into your own into BKFC. Talk about that advantage that you have with the experience inside the squared circle against him.
Well, you know, bare knuckle is different. It's a different sport. And especially when you go out in the deeper waters, you know, I'm the type of guy that I'm really comfortable with just being in there. I love being in there. I'm not in a rush to get out. I'm not scared to get hurt. I'm not scared of my opponent. You know, I'm not scared of the power. Whatever happens in the fight, you know. If I get knocked out, hey, whatever, you know. But like, I can't go in there. I'm not gonna go in there. I'm gonna go in there. I'm just gonna implement my game plan. And because in bare knuckle, it's not about who's the more athletic guy, who's the most stronger guy. It's really who can get their game going faster. You got 10 minutes, and then and every punch counts. You know, and you know we've been in there. I said fighters. There's a certain advantage into obviously having experience. It's a big thing, especially when you've been here for a while. I got 16 rounds in bare knuckle. He only has one round. You know, maybe he hasn't really had a bare knuckle fight. I know he had that round, but he hasn't had a fight. Like when he fights with me, he's gonna fight. We're gonna fight. Everybody fights with me, you know. But me and Jim, it's like we didn't really get to fight. I was like you know, and I love Jim. Like, yeah, I wish you could have fight. Me and Jim didn't really get to fight, but you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what he got for me, and you know, and I know he's gonna probably in his best shape and in his best mindset, and I know he he knows what he's getting into in the competition. The level of competition that he's going against now is it's a little bit different than his first fight, you know. So more not just experience, but style wise and just mentality and just the kind of fighter he's gonna have in front of him. And I'm a seasoned fighter. I've seen it all, you know. And I can't wait. I can't wait to get in here and just get it done, you know, because I don't like talking. Like I want to get all the talking out of the way. I want to get in there and just show what I got, you know. That's the only time I want to let my hands do the talking. I want to show people what we've been working on. We've been doing a lot. We're working on a lot of bare knuckle stuff, a true bare knuckle style, and just looking forward to getting our game on.
And Brad Kelly, like I said, getting like relatively new into BKFC, into bare knuckle period. And like you said, you're coming into your own niche. You don't have to do BKFC. You have your MMA career. You say you're doing this because you want to be in there.
Yeah, I want to do this. Yeah, I want to do this. I don't have, like, a lot of guys, like, they see this as an opportunity or maybe like a last ditch effort, or maybe you're trying to, you know, they're trying to blow up or get famous. You know, everybody fights for different reasons. And I'm cool with that. You know, I totally respect it. I love doing this. And you can tell when I fight, I love doing this. And when I first started doing bare knuckle, my first fight was for the money, you know? But once I got in it, I realized that I'm made for this, you know? I'm like, hey, man, this is my thing. And I've always been a good striker. I've always been a cerebral striker. When I fight people and I get them thinking, I turn it into a technical fight. I've always been like that. And ever since I first started, we got into BKFC 3. When I first started, everybody's like, oh, you got to go out there and just, you know, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, I've always been one of the guys since the beginning. I'm like, I got my own approach. I'm trying to be technical. I want to have a sustainable style. I want to be able to keep coming back, and I want to make a career out of this. And I know I can, because back in the day, guys used to fight till they were almost 50 doing pugilists, not until somebody went down. So obviously, somebody, you know, we got to, you know, there's got to be a better way. You know, everybody says, hey, this is the way to do it. I'm like, dude, this sport is fresh. There's got to be a better way. So this is like a quest for us. And I've always been a martial artist. And then for this is like a new quest for us. It's like a new girlfriend. Like that's what I said after my first fight. Like, dude, this is like a new girlfriend. I'm like, ooh, I'm like, I love it. You know, I want to know everything about her. You know, I'm looking into the past, you know, and thinking about the future and what can be done and what you can, you know, it was, you know, we fell in love with it. And, you know, my coach is like, dude, he's like, after my first fight, I got knocked out of the 9. He's like, you're a bare knuckle fighter now, man. And I'm like, I think you might be right, you know. And then when I did the gym fight, I said I did that fight for the money too. And you know, I said what happened. Jim is a champ, you know. And then I had the Palomino fight, bounce back fight, and then they're like, hey, Elvin, you want to do the 55 tournament? And I was like, yeah, I want to do the tournament. I want to fight Palomino. I want to fight the best guy right off the bat. I'm like, if I want to beat the best, I'm not going to dodge the best guy in the tournament, because I'm trying to be the best. So I'm going to fight the best right off the bat. I'm going to get this guy out of the way, so then I can focus on the other guys. So I went for Palomino first. I think it was a big mentality issue. And Palomino's a veteran. We were both veterans. If you watch our fight, it was a very technical fight. That fight could have ended at any moment. We're both throwing real heavy shots. We both were missing heavy shots. I think that's one of those fights that, if you appreciate the fight game, it was actually a very, very well executed fight. And Palomino was very impressive. I was trying to get him out of his game. I was trying to make him, you know, bite down on stuff and expose himself. And he was able to stay composed. And you know, and he executed. When I started hurting his hands, he started going to the body, and he just took whatever I gave him. You know, when he couldn't get whatever he wanted, he took what I gave him. And, you know, and he showed, you know, potential of a champion. And after the fight was over, I'm like, dude, this guy's going to knock the fuck out of the next dude. He's going to knock the next dude out. And sure as hell, he knocked the hell out of the next dude. You know, and it's just not, and because I know Palomino, I know those guys. These guys have been fighting for a long time. They're veterans. I'm like, Palomino's a beast, you know, and I have nothing but respect for the guys. But after that fight, I realized I can't just sit back. I can't just be slick. I have to impose myself in there. And it's not like the old school pugilist days where I could just let my opponent wear himself out and I could just finish him off in the 8th round or the 10th round. You know, I have to compress that old style that old school pugilist style of wearing that really hard style of wearing your opponent down and compress it into a 5 style thing, 5 round thing. So like I have to throw more. I have to be more aggressive. I have to keep a good pace going. I have to, we stopped sparring 3-minute rounds. We were sparring 3-minute rounds. We're like, no, we're gonna spar 2-minute rounds because the pacing is different, So like we changed the way we do a lot of the training and the way we approach. I always spar the way I fight, so I started sparring different, and then I came out there, and when we did that Kaleb fight, we executed. It was a beautiful fight. Kaleb is a dangerous dude. He's a young prospect. He got a lot of heart. He got a good chin, and I hit him with a lot of good shots. I kind of already expected him. I already know that there's a big chance that I won't be able to knock Kaleb out because I've seen him take some horrifying shots, and he's a machine, Yeah, and so I kind of expected him to be able to take me to the distance, but I expected also to win, and I was able to execute my game plan like perfectly. Obviously, when I look back at it, there's a lot of things that I could have done better, and that's what I want to do in my next fight. I want to work on making all the little tweaks. We've been going back into the shop, working on talking to my coach. My coach, he came out of retirement when I moved back to Puerto Rico. He came out of retirement to do this again with me. So we're back, the old team back together, undefeated team, and we want to stay undefeated. We're hungry. We want to do this. We're doing it with passion. We want to do this. We want to show what the potential of this sport is. And there's still, this sport is going to be real different in 10 years. So we just want to, we want to be part of we're pioneers, and we want to be part of this bare knuckle history. We're really excited about it.
I couldn't agree more, man. And just like you were just saying with learning and getting into your own niche, your own style, and basing it into bare knuckle, as we were talking before the interview, you were talking about how you've come to adapt the jungle camp. I think that's what you referred to it as. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because as we were talking about beforehand, bare knuckle's a different beast. You have to really calculate your shots. You can break your hand at any moment. Everybody thinks that you're just going to go for the balls to the wall and go for the power shots, but your hands, they do get tired, like you were saying.
You can do that,
You can.
There's going to be consequences, though. You could have an epic fight, but it's going to be real painful, And a lot of people don't realize, because you see it on TV, they don't realize if you have a real hard fought fight in bare knuckle, it's going to take a long time to recover. It takes a long time because we're larger than life characters, and sometimes people forget because it's the way we are and the kind of heart and grit that we have. We're flesh and blood too. We're a lot of and bare knuckle. It's so minute. There's so much minutia in bare knuckle that you don't see, but the fighters feel that it's gonna take a while for people. There's gonna be a learning curve for the audience. For the fans, there's gonna be a learning curve for the fans. But the fans are gonna learn what to look for. They're gonna notice the hand fatigue. They're gonna notice the defense, the different kind of styles. Because there's always gonna be place for aggressive fighters. There's always going to be a place in bare knuckle for balls to the wall fighters that go hard. They're only going to get better and more technical at doing that. They're going to, they're only going to, I think there's going to be defining styles, but they're just going to get more technical, more based on experience, just like mixed martial arts. It's going to be based on experience. Guys aren't going to be starting there's not going to be that that research and development phase. That there was a huge research and development phase in MMA. MMA is a completely different sport, but that's going to be, we're in that phase right now where everybody's trying to figure out what works, and a lot of the best guys and the most respectable guys in bare knuckle for me are the guys that every time they fight, they look a little bit better, they look just a little bit sharper. They don't look static. They come out better every round. There's a lot of guys that do good, but they're the same guy every time, and sometimes your success, it holds you back because you don't see all the bad stuff that you're doing too. So, and then you got to have heart because there's a chance. This is bare knuckle, and they always talk about puncher's chance and or I don't really believe in lucky punches because you have to throw the punch, so you can't get. It's not lucky if you're throwing it. So but there's always that chance that you can get caught and the fight's gonna end. You get hit on the nerves, you get hit on the right spot. You get hit on the back of the head. You get hit with the discombobulator and you're on stilts, and you just have a bad day. You got to be able to bounce back and come back, And I said, this is not a place for everybody thrives. This is not all fighters belong here, And and bare knuckle is like one of those places, you walk in there in the back and you already know who belongs back there. You know, it's a real sport.
I can't imagine for the ones that conceivingly don't belong there, how unwelcoming that back room might have to be.
Well, I'm sure they could feel the pressure, you know, because you know they can feel the pressure. Some guys just thrive in back there, you know. Like some guys they thrive in this environment, you know. Like I love being under pressure, you know. Lorenzo, he lives in there. He loves it, you know. Some guys, and he gets better every fight too, you know. And he's learning. There's a lot of some guys just love, you know. Reggie, I think to me, Reggie Barnett probably one of the most technical bare knuckle guys because he's he's one of the guys that's developed his own like bare knuckle style. And man, I'm gonna tell you right now, like the Reggie from the first, I think he was in the first BKFC. He's way better now, and he's made a whole bunch of adjustments. And after that Johnny fight, he made more adjustments. And I'm looking forward to seeing his next fight. He's fighting a seasoned boxer, but this isn't boxing. This is fighting. You know, this is bare knuckle fighting, and a lot of people don't understand what that means until they get in there.
And I find that interesting you bring up Reggie because it's somebody I've interviewed many a times. We've talked multiple times about the same kind of things that you're talking about with the hands in bare knuckle. That's completely different than when you have just a little bit of padding, whether it be 4 ounce, whether it be 10, 12, whatever
it's
ounce.
Huge.
It's huge, man. And it's
I'm curious. You heard it.
Yeah. I'm curious though, is these all things that you're taking into the jungle camp that you're creating, all these tools?
Everything. It's pure bare knuckle from the ground up. I mean, from the jab, I mean, every punch. You know, we've actually went back to the lab and we're like, okay, because you got to remember the body mechanics. If you want to really be, because that's how we do it in boxing. Boxing is a scientific sport. If you want to be scientific, the punching dynamics is going to change because if you throw, modern boxing is made for a gloved hand. Okay, so it's going to be the most efficient form of fighting for a gloved fighter. Once you take that glove off, and I know because I've been doing amateur boxing since I was 16. I did amateur. I was regional champion in Puerto Rico. Contact points and how your hand lands and none of that is taken into consideration. You know, hand fatigue, that's like a freak accident. You know, if you break your hand and bare knuckle in a boxing fight, that's not. Once you take the glove off, you have to. Your hand has to land every time the right way. If your hand doesn't land every time the right way, you're gonna hurt your hands. You know, it has to land every time unless you train it. So, unless you take your gloves off and you're hitting that bag or you're hitting that pad or you're hitting that punch shield as hard as you can every time, and you hit it every time the right way, every time you throw the uppercut to the body, it's not the same thing as throwing an uppercut to the head because if you turn your hand and your hand, like you'll smash it, that hand might hurt you more. Yeah, you might, you know, I've seen guys hurt themselves more hitting themselves on top of the head in a bare knuckle fight because they like hit the guy on top of the head. They hurt themselves more. Some guys are tough. You see in bare knuckle, they're like, "Come on, hit me again," you know. And then if you're dealing with that, you know, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really finding what you're just saying very interesting and intriguing, even more so because you're talking about the science and the dynamics of it, and how you're talking about how you and Reggie and you know some other bare knuckle fighters right now seem to have those dynamics, and how boxing is definitely for the dynamics for the gloved athlete right now. Do you think it's going to take a learning curve, some time for the dynamics of bare knuckle boxing to get instilled into the fighters? Whereas maybe you and Reggie and others might be ahead of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to stay ahead of the game. You know, I've never trained with Reggie. I just know from what I see, and I know I know that he's a technician. You know, and that's how I am. I'm sure there's other guys that especially the guys that have been coming back. They know, they already know. So there's something you have to think about it. You either solve that equation, or you're just going out there. You're not improving. You know, if you haven't. Every time I come back, I'm coming back and I'm on the board and I'm okay. How can you do this better? How can I throw this? You know, and I always tell you, I can throw my, you know, and I move a lot in my fights. You know, Kaleb, he's a tough dude. I hit Kaleb a lot. Like I wouldn't have punch stats in that fight, but I hit Kaleb a lot, and he's tough as shit. You know, I hit him, and I hit him over and over and over and over again with the jab, with the right, with the jab, with the right, and you know, I walked out fine out of that fight. I was fine. My hands were fine. I was like, hey, look at my hands. My hands are fine. And same thing with Palomino. We fought 5 rounds. You know, my hands are fine. You know, and even my first fight, even though because there is a learning curve, my first fight I'm glad I fought with Harris Stevenson because Harris Stevenson is tough as nails. You know, and we had a fight. You know, that my first fight was 5 rounds. I got hit. It was bone on bone. I was sore. I was feeling my bone. Like I'm thinking after the fight, I'm like, dude, you can break bones in this. Like you can get your face broken. You can get your clavicle broken. You know, you're like, this is real. You know, like I got the real experience. You know, and it wasn't like a walk in the park. You know, it wasn't like I went out there, boom, got a knockout. Oh, didn't even get the. You know, that's not a bare knuckle fight, man. That's a quick knockout. Yeah, like bare knuckle fights. You got to fight a guy like Johnny for 5 rounds. You know, like. That's a bare knuckle fight, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta fight Johnny. Like when you fight a guy like Johnny Bedford, it's like don't expect the first round knockout, you know. You're gonna have to, yeah. It's gonna be rough, dude.
You're in for a long night if you don't get finished, and that seems to be the more experienced BKFC fighters. It seems to be that's what it is. If you're not ready for it, you're going to be in for a long, hard night.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm a nice guy, but like. We're trying to hurt you, you know? And like, I like the second, third round once that fatigue starts getting in. That's the rounds I like, you know? That's the rounds when I start really getting into my zone. Like a lot of people are worried. They're like, they don't want the fight to last long. You know, they don't want to get cut. They don't want to bleed. You know, they don't want to be sore. I'm like, that's when I get in my game, you know?
Is that like a blood in the water type sense when you're being pushed? The way you're explaining is like the second, the third, the fourth, you know, rounds and everything, the longer it goes, the more into it you're getting. So it's almost like the deeper waters is when the shark gets attracted.
Yeah. I mean, I really, you know, like I said, and we're comfortable with that. Like, I've never done a bare knuckle fight where I was ready for it to end, where I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for the belt to run. You know, I've had my last fight, I got what I wanted because when I fought Palomino, I wasn't tired. The fight ended, and I'm like, dude, I'm not even tired. And then, you know, my coach wasn't with me for that fight. I trained for him because his dad died, so he wasn't there. You know, and he was like, dude, yeah, you weren't tired because you didn't freaking go all out. You know, you should have went all out. And then when I finished with Kaleb, I was tired with Kaleb because Kaleb kept coming forward, and I had to keep putting it on him. You know, and when I got done, I was tired, and I was like, okay, I was happy. You know, but I know that I need to do more if I want to be a champion. I need to just keep there's levels to this, and I have to keep reaching for more, and that's really the way we've been training. We were ready to fight last year. I was ready to fight in November. I was ready to fight. You know, we were ready to fight in October. We were ready to fight in November. We were ready to fight in December, and you know, it got to the point where we're gonna have to give myself a break because I'm just gonna kill. You know, I'm gonna break down because we were training so hard. So I gave myself a break for like a couple of days. And I'm like, okay, we gotta get back at it. You know, we right back at it again. You know, and now we've been having a lot of fun doing this. So now we're right back in the full swing of things. We're having guys come down here and keep our spirits afire. You know, I got Chris came, Britton Hart came down here. I got Brandon down here, and you know, Brandon's a funny guy. You know, he's a lot of and, you know, I don't have any prior relationship with Brandon before he came out here. You know, because he was with the GO guys, and they're like, hey, we want to send him. He needs to train. You know, come out there. And I remember the first, you know, he knows it, the first interaction I had with Brandon. He sent me a friend request, and I'm like, nope, get the hell out of here. I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with your ass, dude. I'm like, he's like, because he's just, you know, he's like the big mouth of bare knuckle, you know. But like when I met him, Brandon, he's a real dedicated guy, you know. And he's an all-out guy, and it's crazy, you know. He came out here and trained, and he's like, hey, you think I'm ready for this fight? And we're like, no, dude, like, you're not. But when he sets out his mind on something, you know, he's gonna do it. You know, he went and did the fight, and he fought 3 rounds, and really with not really much of experience. He's not really, you know, but he came right back. Like he came right back, and now he's running up this mountain with us. You know, he gets up every morning with us and runs up, and he's chasing. The first day he came back, I ran all the way to the top and turned around to take a video, and he's right there next to me. I was like, damn, Brandon is like you. You know, like he's really dedicated, you know, and I got to give him that. I know there's plenty of stuff to people talk shit about Brandon, you know, but he's a really dedicated guy that, you know, he's done really good with his business. And that's why he's done good with his own personal business, you know. besides any of any personal stuff that he had in itself from the experience that he had with us in the gym. And we told him when he got to the gym, hey, if as long as your shit doesn't get in the way of the gym, we're good. And he's as to the gym, man. He's always down. He comes, he works, rain, sleet, or snow, and he always tries to keep up, He stays in good spirits with us. And Chris, we got Chris working out here with us, gritting hard. She's Virginia girl. She's fat. She's used to the heights. So we're running, racing up the mountains. Going as hard as we can. We're all going at. We're all just. And we're coming out here sparring with the Puerto Rican fighters. They're like, hey, you guys got good sparring out here. I'm like, bro, there's everybody knows how to box in Puerto Rico. Like everywhere you go, you're gonna find a fight. And they went out there and they're like, dude, you're right. Everybody knows how to box. I'm like, yeah, man. Everybody and their mama can box in Puerto Rico. So they got some really good sparring with us. They got to get that burn, that Puerto Rican heat. And we've been really keeping ourselves in spirit, really keeping ourselves accountable to everything, make sure we're all in the same line. And Caesar's been kind of like general over us, and we're, it's been good. It's been real awesome, and I'm really looking forward to actually be able to show off all the work,
Obviously, we can't wait for it. So
yeah.
Your bout with Brad Kelly, man, how do you see it going? Once the bell rings, what do you think's going to go down?
I never know how the fight's going to go because it always depends on my opponent, I know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna put him to work, I'm gonna work his ass. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna put him to work, and we're gonna see how he responds to it, and we're gonna see how the fight goes up. But really, it's always up to my opponent how my fight's gonna go. Because I'm gonna put it work. I'm gonna go out there and work. Like I said, I'm a mover, but I'm not the kind of guy that you can say, hey, Elvin's just running, because all you gotta do is look at my punch count. I'm hitting you. He's like, hey, you're running. I'm like, dude, you're pretty busted up, dude, for somebody. Like. I'm not getting hit. That's different. So I'm gonna work him. I'm gonna work him till he breaks. I'm gonna test his body. I'm gonna test his his chin, test his hands, and we're just gonna keep going till one of us breaks. That's how Bare Knuckle is. Bare Knuckle is self-explanatory. Once you go in there, nobody has to tell you what's going on in there. I'm gonna go on there. I'm just gonna be the better fighter. I'm gonna whatever happens that night, I'm gonna get my hand raised at the end of the night, whether it's a first round knockout, whether it's a 5-round technical fight, whether we have to go to war, whether we have to drag it out. Worst case scenario, I'm getting my hand raised at the end of the night, and I'm moving one step closer to that belt, which I deserve. I work real hard for it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I work real hard for it, and Brad Kelly, I got a lot of respect for Brad Kelly. I work hard for it, and I can't let him stop me.
Where do you think you're better than Brad Kelly? Period. Point blank.
I'm better than him at everything. He's tough. He's tough, and he's a good boxer. He's got good head movement. I just have a better style than him.
So, what can fans expect to see come March 19th in Biloxi, Mississippi, at BKFC 16? Let's get a bold prediction from my man Elvin Brito.
Let's see. Bold prediction. Well, base case scenario, what I would love to do, I would love to get back to knocking people out. So I would say 3rd round knockout, early for 3rd round.
Awesome, man.
Gotta get some work in there.
I got to get some work in there. Yeah. Shake off the cobweb. Keeping it sharp in the jungle camp. I get it, man.
I don't want to make it too fast. If we make it fast, I'm okay with a fast fight. But let's not get, let's punch each other a little bit. Let's have some fun in there.
So obviously the plan to look impressive. The 3rd round knockout's what we're looking forward to. I know you don't look past any opponent, but can you talk about what you would want next?
I got Brad Kelly in front of me. That's the guy. That's the main dude. And he's a really tough opponent. He's very similar style to me. He moves well. He's got good head movement. That's the guy that I'm worried about. After that, it's just one step closer. I would like to fight whoever can get me closer to the belt faster. I always tell people, like, I'll fight anybody because, this is a new sport. If you can come in, you could be a veteran. We've seen so many people come in here, so many veterans come in here and break. They didn't get knocked out. They just didn't get back up. Just break. So this is it's different. So I'm ready to go in there and do my thing.
Suffice to say, you found your combat sport.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, this is for me for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, tell how the fans how they can keep up with you on social media. Obviously, with fight news coming up, I mean, it's going to be a big year for you. I know you're planning for it. So, how can the fans keep up?
Hey, you know, I got an Instagram. I gotta be more active on my social media, but it's Bare Knuckle Bandido. You know, and on Facebook too. I usually, you know, you can get in touch with me on Facebook, Elvin Leon Brito. You should tell me there's not too many Elvin Leon Britos in the world, so I'm real easy to find. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this. You know, getting this fight. I said I can't look past Brad. You know, so let's do Brad, and then, you know, it would. If we really think about it, the last fight my last fight, I fought Kaleb. I fought Kaleb. Joe Elmore fought. He fought. What's his name? And we both won.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're both. We're fighting another 60. There's a couple more 65 guys fighting. I think we should. You know, it's pretty much a tournament. I think whoever wins in my fight and whoever wins the main event should fight for the belt. You know, I think my next opponent should be who wins the main event for the belt, because they're always saying, "Hey, we only do our champions through tournament." But bro, like, what do you want? We're the best. You know, let us give us the belt. We deserve this. You know, we've been putting money in. We've been putting money and time and effort and our heart into the sport. You know, once we win this fight, you know, this is gonna be my 5th bare knuckle fight on the 5-fight club. Let's get our you know, let's get that gold. Let's go fight for that gold, man. You know?
Well, speaking of the main event, since I have you, who do you think will take that between Elmore and Leonard Garcia?
Man, it's whoever gets, you know, if whoever gets their game going. You know, in bare knuckle, it's all about whoever gets their game going. You know, and who gets it done first. Such a fast, punishing, you know, consequences, high stakes poker. You know, it's like you make the wrong move, it's over. You know. You know, but I expect Joe to win. Joe's on a run. He's on a roll. You know, he's coming off some back-to-back wins. I think this is going to be the biggest competition he's fought. I think coming off his last fight, he lost against Jim. So I know he's going to have something to prove. And it's just really it's going to see who shows up. You know, if he shows up to his best ability, it's gonna be a good fight. But if he doesn't, man, he's gonna be fighting a really, really hungry Joe Elmore. I know Joe. He you know, I fought alongside him. He's one of my favorite bare knuckle guys. He's a personality, and he's fighting a very, very hungry Joe Elmore. So he better be ready to fight these guys, fight this guy. But I definitely predict Joe to take that fight. You know, and if Joe wins that fight, we should fight for the belt. Even though me and him are friends and we love each other, but this is the fight business. We're professionals and we know exactly what we want. And I'm totally okay with that fight. But if you know, you get the upset, then I'll fight whoever wins. You know, I want the belt. You know, if not, if they don't say, okay, you don't have to fight, you know, for the belt with these guys, then you know, I just want whoever they got. You know, it's nothing personal. You know, this is business. You know.
All business. Elvin Brito's on a warpath to get it done, man. Elvin, man, I appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck against Brad Kelly. I look forward to the bout. And again, man, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Hopefully I didn't take your head off.
Oh, you're great, man. There he goes, Elvin Brito. He's taking on Brad Kelly at BKFC 16, going down March 19th. You don't want to miss this fight. No, Elvin is the experienced fighter in this one. We will see what happens. Brad Kelly's coming off an impressive knockout. This one has fireworks written all over it. For Elvin Brito, I'm Adam Christ. Make sure you keep it locked to mymmanews.com for all your fight news needs.